Welcome to Only Ghosts in the Building. This is your host, Emily, Claire,
and Karen Lynn.
And we're here with members of Interstate Paranormal Research.
I'm Tony.
I'm Ray.
I'm Amber. Anyway, back to Pennhurst.
So the only thing I knew about Pennhurst before we started even thinking about the Paracon was the October Halloween things that they used to do. They still do it.
Yeah,
where you go in and people jump out and scare you.
Grab your ankle.
Well, so they got a lot of flack for that, right?
So they did throughout the years. The owners turned it into an attraction because they felt that they could make money, and they do.
And it is.
It's rather,
I know people that go every year.
Yeah, I mean, they make a decent amount of money. It's run really, really well. They put a lot of time and effort. They have, I think, over 40 or 50 different actors, makeup artists. They go to Con Ed training. They learn how to paint. They go to animatronic shows, and they learn like the next, best prop to use to make it realistic and make it good. I think the flack that they got is just the general building, the area, the location that they're using, a false haunted prop in an area where such atrocities occurred.
Yes,
right.
So you have that kind of
it's
flack.
almost a little bit disrespectful in some people's eyes.
Right,
Yeah.
but they don't do it disrespectfully.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? From their point of view, it's done tasteful, it's done respectful. Some of their actors and some of their employees are also investigators.
Yeah.
So when they're not doing the haunted attraction, they're investigating. They're partaking in community events for outreach. I just saw a post yesterday where some of their actors and some of their makeup artists went out to a mentally challenged community service program and did face painting activities and stuff with the special needs children.
That's cool.
So they do stuff very respectfully. So I think the flack that they have gotten throughout the years is a little overwhelming, a little misguided, so to speak, because it's just people that don't know what they do. They just think, oh, we're going to put up a haunted attraction and we're going to, be pissed off that you did that.
Right.
Yeah.
Look into what they're doing.
Okay.
Outside of that. You could have your own opinion. Everybody has an opinion, and you could say the atrocities that occurred there may be a little bit disrespectful to put a dragon in the basement, or people jumping out of a closet or something where an entity may have died there. But that's your own opinion.
Yeah.
Look at what they do financially and for the community, and they do a hell of a lot.
Now, did they do anything with doctor-patient though?
What do you mean, doctor-patient?
Were there actors that dressed up as doctors and patients? I know that's a trope in most places.
I don't recall seeing a doctor other than maybe a mad scientist.
Okay.
In the past, they came out of a bubbling cauldron of stuff. They do have some patient type stuff, but more an inmate, not an actual patient per se, prison jumpsuit, jumping out, acting, a little kind of wild.
Okay. That was, because you hear stories and stuff, and I've heard, people saying, well, they had the doctors and the patients, and they were doing experiments in the ghosts or in the haunted house, and I was like, I don't know. I never went because I don't like those things. I'd rather go to a real haunted house and have a real experience.
I don't recall seeing a doctor outfit, but I mean, you can go to any haunted location, or haunted attraction, not location.
Yes.
Haunted attraction, and you're going to see somewhere along the line of the walking trail, the haunted hayride, the house,
and then
that they have a mad scientist that has a dead body and they're pulling an alien out of the stomach. I mean, that's kind of a common theme.
But I think there's the other controversy is that is a Halloween, it's a haunted house, it's scary, and then people relate Pennhurst to that. That's all they know about Pennhurst is it's a haunted house, and it used to be someplace where they locked up crazy people. And that's not what it is at all. I mean, it is in the broad sense that they did, house people that had mental and physical disabilities. but it was much more than that and turned into much more than that.
Right.
So what's your thought when that started? You had a little bit of history.
Yeah.
So I think it comes down to you have to have an open mind, right? If you come into something closed-minded and say that they're just doing a haunted attraction and not having respect, open your mind.
Right.
Research. Before you open your mouth and you make a negative comment, know your facts. They put a lot of money back into Pennhurst. They've remodeled buildings. They've replaced things. Yes, they've had to demolish some buildings because of safety reasons, but they put money back into the location. They are preserving it. They're creating a museum. They've already started it in Mayflower that many people have seen. They're currently, this past weekend, I can't divulge where, but they did additional work to try to open stuff up for the Paracon and for the future. So they are doing stuff, putting back. They give back to the community. I just told you about the outreach event that they do.
Yeah.
So outside of the haunted attraction, they do things back for the historical
and
society.
I appreciate that and understand that, but
Yeah.
I'm sure that most people that just go to the haunted portion of it, they don't look into the history
The
of
other
Pennhurst
part.
and
Yeah.
what they're
Sure.
doing and what has come from, all of the good work that has come from what happened there.
Yeah.
But that goes
they
back to
don't-
my closed-minded
Yeah.
comment.
Yeah.
Like, don't just come there and think that it's haunted attraction because it's so much more.
And
Yeah.
there's some people, that's all they want. They don't
Yeah.
care about anything else.
Yeah.
But again, the perception is like.
But they, as
So
you
I'm
talked
glad
about,
we're talking about this and getting this message
Right.
out.
but they do photography tours that you can
Right.
come there and
Yes.
take pictures.
Right.
They do history tours.
Yes.
And they tell you what the history is and give you that other side of things. That it's not just a haunted attraction for 6 weeks.
Exactly.
That it's so much more.
There's more to it than that, and you can take those history tours.
And those guys are very passionate about what they do, and they know a lot. And they actually have former patients or residents that come back to them and visit them. There's
That's
a young
cool.
lady that, sometimes comes around. They joke that once she comes around, you can't get rid of her because she likes that interaction. She wants to see what they're doing because she knows what it was before, and it's much better.
And
now.
what she experienced.
Absolutely.
So when did it open?
So 1906, Pennhurst opened up as the Pennsylvania, State Reformatory. And sadly, we were talking about before is, if you had any kind of stature in the community, banker, real estate, financial mogul, industry mogul, and you had a child that had some sort of what we now know today as a disability, whether it's autism, Down syndrome, seizures, it was, let's drive our kid to Pennhurst and basically drop our kid off, get rid of them, never see them again because you were looked at as like a blight in the community. Oh, you have a handicapped child? You can't be a financial mogul. You can't be a banker because you had a
There's
disabled
a lot
child.
of stigma
A lot of
associated.
stigma.
I'm
And-
so glad
and it
that
was
stigma's going nowadays. All the things that people are doing on social media with autism and all the awareness. And you might have autism and you don't know it. You can be on the spectrum, be neurodivergent.
Well, also
Getting that stuff is-
ADHD. I mean,
Yes.
I had a brother that was
Dyslexic.
out of control with, he was like wild.
Bouncing off the
Really.
walls.
And it took a lot to kind of keep him under control because they didn't know back in those days what to do
Absolutely.
with them. So a lot of times ship them off to institutions because you can't handle them. You
Absolutely.
don't know how to handle them. There's no training for that. And doctors would say, oh, well, we've got a place that you can put him
Yeah.
and he'll get the treatment he needs or
And then
she.
you look at what we have available to us today as science-based research, science-based medical, testing and therapies. Sadly, we had to go through a period of time where we did lobotomies. We were drilling into people's brains. We were messing with temporal lobes and frontal lobes
Yes.
to try to cure seizures or behavior outbursts. We now know today, as you were just describing, ADHD versus ADD, behavioral issues, whether it's schizophrenia or paranoid or bipolar, all this stuff that we know today, as in 2024, that they didn't know in 1912.
Right.
Or they didn't know in 1908. So all these years we had to go through trials and tribulations, which
Yeah.
are extremely sad and extremely bad. Unfortunately, happened at Pennhurst.
Yes.
It helped us to get to where we are today.
Absolutely.
But Pennhurst isn't the only institution, and it became very popular to have those type of places to warehouse people because they just, again, there's the social stigma, but again, parents didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
They just didn't know how to treat and how do you feed a child that won't eat,
I live this every day. I thought I could handle having a kid. I'm like, I know how to do it. I can homeschool.
Yeah.
Not with this kid.
Yeah.
Not with this kid. There's so much stuff that I need to learn.
So it became, it was a good idea, and I think at the beginning they were doing excellent work. They were teaching children, and somehow it got out of control and became overpopulated. They were just warehousing people. There weren't enough doctors. There weren't enough teachers. There weren't enough volunteers. There weren't enough nurses. They were 900 people over the capacity of the hospital, which is huge. But again, it was a self-sustaining community, and people knew it was there, but they did not want to see or did not get involved and said, okay, we'll send people there and then everything will be fine. Closed eye, right?
If you want to learn more, look up, what is it, Bill Baldini?
Bill Baldini.
Yes.
Suffer the Little Children.
Yes.
And you can see what that ended up being like and what had to happen before we were like, no, stop. Let's move on. Let's do something different. Let's figure it out. So.
Yeah, so there was a period of time, we talked about it opened in 1906 and it progressed, through several years afterwards. I want to say that it was like the 30s or 40s that it was kind of like a university. Like you had to actually apply to get in. There was, at a time there was a waiting list, kind of like modern day universities, where they were self-sustaining, where they had good health care, where they had good treatment, and they had their own little city. They had their farm, they had their textile mill, they had their industries. It was a self-sustaining, community. And they did good during that time frame. And then moving more into, I think, like the 50s or 60s, as you said, it started getting overcrowded, understaffed. So that led to its own problems. The state decided to pull funding, whatever limited funding they gave them anyway, decided to start housing now subservient criminals and, younger deviants. Hey, we don't want to put them in jail. Let's throw them over at Pennhurst because it's kind of a secluded, segregated, locked away type community, and we'll now intermingle functioning deviants with special needs children and teenagers in an already starting to get out of control, overcrowded environment. Let's just throw criminals in the mix. Then they're hiring more staff that didn't care. They didn't go through thorough checks. So now you're putting staff in there that may have done bad things to other people before they even came to Pennhurst. So now you just have a hocus pocus witch bowl of a whole bunch of crap that's now mixing up through the 50s, 60s, which led to the 70s, the overcrowding and the poor management of these poor kids.
Absolutely.
And it's not, there were adults there as well.
Yes,
So
because
there
they
were-
age from
They
the
did,
younger
and
kids.
they went into the older.
And they had no place to go.
Right.
So that was kind of
Older
like in
ages.
a senior citizen community now where, if you have a relative that needs taken care of, you put them into a nursing home type setting, but they're older. But back then, they started out as a kid, they grew up in that facility.
And that's all they
was
knew.
All they knew.
And there was really no other place for them until after Bill Baldini's story, and they started then looking at what they could do as an alternate and keeping people in their communities or in their homes.
And sadly, even though with that special, they came out on national news, right? I think he was on Channel 10 for Bill. It's either 3 or 10.
I can't remember yet. But
Sadly, it still took like 10 to 12 years
Yeah.
for them to even do anything, with substantial like repercussions.
I think they were able to get additional funding, but it still wasn't sufficient.
It was too late.
Yeah, it was too late.
It was just out of control.
Right. And then they went to the finding neighborhood homes to.
And sadly, it's reported that when they actually closed the doors, they just let these patients go free in the community.
Mm-hmm.
So, Spring City is the closest town that's there on the water there. And people they just woke up one day and just found people sleeping on their steps and their porch.
Yeah.
And
Because they
took
had
them
nowhere
in.
to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing they knew.
So
They did that a lot in different places.
yeah, well,
too.
I think that was the Reagan era, and he pulled funding for a lot of mental
a lot.
support for individuals. So this is the basis of who is there now, the entities, the spirits that are there now.
So I've investigated there 12 times. And you come across a lot of different stuff at Pennhurst.
I'm coming next time, just saying.
So
Okay.
what kind of experiences have you had?
Oh man, that's
Ray's had a good one.
Yeah.
Please
Dish
do
it.
tell. When
Dish
you
it.
sat down in that chair down at the end of the hallway.
Oh, third floor of the Mayflower.
Yes.
So the Mayflower building is one of the dormitories, or what was that?
And that's newly open, right?
no Mayflower's been near one of the original buildings.
Quakers. the
Quaker.
movie.
Okay. Yeah. I'm so confused by this place. I can't wait to
It's so
see
big,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Once you go there and like point this out,
Yeah.
point that, it starts like
Clicking.
it
Yeah.
starts kind of like clay. It starts molding in your head like
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
it is.
But yeah, tell them your experience. It was interesting.
So
Mayflower.
I go in not knowing anything of the history of this place. And we make our way to the third floor of the Mayflower building, and we go to a room down the hallway. I sit in a chair, and we were about to attempt communication, and all of a sudden my throat started to get really scratchy and dry, and I started coughing like crazy. So Sierra tells me, all right, now go ahead and leave the room. I leave the room, it stops. I go back in to sit down, and I pick up on this man that's choking people. Come to find out, Sierra verified that. There's a man up there that likes to choke men.
Yeah. That's crazy. Just men?
Just men.
Oh, he was like, I don't like you. Wow. Now, how does that make you feel though? Does it scare you? Like, no, you would go sit in there again.
I was in there later on that night.
Yeah.
But she wasn't affected by it at all.
No.
No.
She wasn't, Amber wasn't.
Yeah.
The rest of our group wasn't. And we did have another male. My best friend was in the group as well. But he didn't sit down on the chair or anything. So.
Okay.
Okay, so it was just on the chair.
Interesting.
So that particular entity
Yeah.
in Mayflower emphatically has a name, and his name is commonly referred to as King.
Oh, I knew you were gonna say king.
King doesn't like males. For the simple
a
fact that
king.
he was abused by an old maintenance man / janitor, and in death, he still attributes males to that particular person that abused him.
Oh.
And
Now-
I've seen it with my own eyes. Ray didn't know this story, but I've seen it with my own eyes. Many years ago, we went there. We had a former team that used to run investigations there, and a husband of one of the tour guides was with our group. And as soon as he got into the basement area, it's kind of like an exercise room with like a workout triangle. It's commonly referred to as King's Room. He came in and they were talking about, males have to be careful, this, that, and the third, don't, provoke, which you don't provoke spirits anyway.
Please don't provoke.
No.
And all of a sudden, he started describing exactly what Ray. Now, I'm talking 8 years ago, so
Yeah.
Ray knows nothing about this.
Yeah.
And started, my throat's kind of getting dry. I can't breathe. What is going
Yeah.
on? And we looked at him, and we were all in the room. He was standing just inside the threshold of the room, and his eyes. If you've ever seen like a
Yes.
movie where
Yeah.
they portray someone getting strangled, like your face gets red, like your eyes start to bug out.
Yeah.
And he literally was like with his arms dangling at his side, like,
Wow.
And we were like, what is wrong with your husband? Like,
Yeah.
we didn't know what was going on.
Right.
And she was like, get him out of here, get him out of here.
Yeah.
As soon as we like pushed him through the threshold into the hallway, it stopped.
Wow.
So he was like, I got to get out of here. What the hell was that?
Yeah.
We go outside, and he had a hoodie on because it was a little chilly. We go outside, and he's like now freaking out because he's like, my neck is burning, my neck is burning.
Yeah.
Takes his hoodie off, he had handprints around his neck.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Wow.
That has been a common theme throughout
Yeah.
the years with different males like being down.
In that one particular area.
Just in that general area, yeah.
So King, what's his story? Do you have any
So,
information on
rumor
him? Why is
has
he
it-
called King?
So King is, I think, just an emphatic name because of his size that he always portrays himself.
Okay.
It's just, King because he's big.
Okay.
Throughout the years, he's been seen as a 6.5 to 7 foot tall black shadow figure that likes to stand in doorways and kind of like show you like his presence, like massive presence. But it's been rumored through the years. No one has it in the history book that I know of. Maybe when you interview Jim or somebody from Pennhurst, they can, add to this or, help confirm. But it's been reported that King was a Native American / Caucasian adult male with the mentality of like a 13-year-old, but he was really like in his 30s.
Yeah.
Very big, very massive, brutally strength individual.
Right.
And this maintenance man or janitor would ask him to do like strong tasks, like here, move this, do this, kind
Yeah.
of do that. And he was, yes, sir, like I'll do it kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then when he didn't do it the way that the janitor or the maintenance person wanted it, he would discipline him. He would smack him with pipes. He would hit him with sticks. Like he would abuse him. So that is what he is attributed a male person to as an abuser. So we all know
So
in
he's
life,
not a bad person,
No.
and he's not a bad spirit. He just takes his way out on other people.
Yep.
So you don't have any ill will against him for doing that to you because he's
No.
just doing what he thinks is what he needs to do. Wow, that's
To protect
interesting.
himself.
Yes, that is interesting. And
Or
you've,
to lash back
you've
out.
seen him in real life.
I have not physically seen
Okay.
his actual like presence.
Presence,
I've
yeah.
seen other pictures that people have captured of him,
Okay.
but I get his sense and I can empathically see like him moving around and it's
Yeah.
time to go kind of thing.
Yeah.
To protect everybody.
He doesn't
Yeah.
try to go after you or.
He has, but he hasn't choked me. He's made me violently sick.
Okay.
Me and my ex. She got sick too, but I think she was just kind of reacting to me.
Yeah.
But I got violently sick, and as soon as I stepped out of the room,
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah. I've felt that too. Not violent, but I get stomach sick.
But
Places.
there's many entities in there.
Yeah.
You have to look at all the years from 1906 to I think it was 88 or 89 that they closed down.
So many people.
You have patients, you have staff, you have like outside people that came in, like contractors that may still be there, doctors, surgery people. They had their own hospital in Wilson 1 and Wilson 2, which are buildings. They did surgeries. They had in-house hospital services. So if you had appendicitis, they took your appendix out. Like
Yeah.
you didn't go to the community hospital. They had a morgue. They had all this stuff. So you're dealing with a lot of different entities. And some of the unwritten stuff is you have people, we talked about breaking into places earlier and
Yes.
messing with some unsavory things.
Yes.
Things have been called in there.
Yeah.
I won't go into too many, things as to what it is versus what it isn't. It's not my place. I don't
Yeah.
want to give any kind of, bad juju to any place, but there's been a couple dark things that have been brought in there throughout the years
Yeah.
that management and Jim had to call in some help.
Yeah.
And, something may still be there now.
Yeah.
You never know. So across the board,
Yeah. Always come in protected.
yes, absolutely. So
That's
Devon,
cool.
by far, is my favorite building.
Okay.
What was that used for? What was the?
So it was a co-ed dorm. Started out male, and then when they were overpopulating, they started kind of mixing, and adding people in there. It was a lot of therapy wards too, like medicine therapy, recovery kind of therapy. You'll see when you get there the kind of layout. Devon is my favorite building because I'm always chasing the whistling man in Devon and the screaming lady. Screaming lady
Oh,
is
boy.
common.
Oh boy.
I have it on audio for a live. We were doing a Facebook Live. It's captured audio.
Cool.
Followed by a slamming of a metal door. There was only 5 males in that building that night, no females. And I know where every single person was, one of them being sitting right next to me, and the other 3 doing their own investigation down on the first floor. And it's Sean Alston from 28 Days, I believe he's on there, and he does his own investigations. He's gone to many places. He's a celebrity. He came out that night with his friend Eric and Eric's friend. So I knew where they were, and they didn't scream like a girl. They definitely didn't slam the door. The whistling man
Yes.
is always just the male figure that I always see empathically walking down the hallway in front of me. And just when I think I get behind him or close enough to tap him on the shoulder, have him turn around to reveal who he is, he's 200 feet down the hall, like that
That
fast.
skips ahead.
And you always hear him whistling. That's
Yeah.
why I call him the whistling man.
Yeah. Do you think he's an intelligent haunt, or do you think that's a repetitive haunt?
I think it's repetitive.
Yeah.
Just for the simple fact that he's doing the same thing every
Over
time
and
I
over.
see him,
Yeah.
over and over
So
and over.
you can't put a name to.
And I've even said, hey, turn around.
Yeah.
Who are you? What's your name?
Is he wearing
Nothing.
a jumpsuit?
I can't see what he's wearing because it's
Okay.
more of like a silhouette than an actual like physical like white shirt versus black pants. It's just a silhouette with light in front of him.
Yeah. I'm getting a vision just of a man, and it looks like a gray jumpsuit, and he kind of like, but who knows? That could be my
It's
imagination.
definitely, I know another entity there is referred to as Skippy. He's the janitor, one of them, or maintenance guy. I know it's not him.
Yeah.
I get the vibe that it's more of a patient that's just kind of like on a proverbial walk and whistling to pass his time.
What do you think causes that as far as an entity, the different, you know?
Is
what
it the
did you
stone
call it?
tape theory? The repetitive
Repetitive,
haunt, or residual haunt, sorry.
residual haunt, right?
I mean, it's sometimes referred to as a ghost loop.
Yeah.
You know, it's what they particularly do at that given time in their time period, and it's just something that they're stuck on. Kind of like a broken record. Like if you have a certain scratch in a record, it'll play to a certain point and then restart. Play to a certain point, restart.
Yeah.
I don't have a definitive answer because paranormal, there's no definitive answer on
Never.
anything. You know, because I don't have a Campbell soup can tied to another Campbell soup can with a string that goes through our universe to theirs. They'd be like, hey, Bob, what's going on over there? I'm a ghost, and can you hear me? You know, there's no definitive science. You know, it's all about...
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
The dog's going off, and it's in the other room. Yeah, thank you, please. I got chills now.
Paranormal.
That scared the living crap out of me. We're the only ones here.
Yeah,
But we're not though.
No, we're not.
We have a spirit with
Oh,
us.
I got chills.
If that was you, can you touch that dog again for me?
We all gasped. It was like,
I literally almost jumped out of my seat. You saw me.
Hello?
oh, they did it again. Yes. Oh boy. You
you
guys
back
can
away?
hear that. So while we were
Can you do me a favor? Okay. We hear that you're here. Could you back away for a second? I want to ask a question. Could you back away? And I need it silent.
This is exciting.
Could you move away from the dog? Amber's recording. Can you tell me who you are? What's your name? You're not going to tell me your name? Or did you?
Can you touch another part of the doggy? And that doesn't go off until you're like right up on it.
You have to touch it.
physically touch it.
That's so
Who's
great.
here with us today?
It's the repetition that it's doing. It's like
Yeah,
That's the touching
it's
of
like
the
playing
ear,
with
right?
it.
If he touches the ear, that does
I think
that.
it's the nose. It's
The
either
nose.
the ear or the nose.
You must really like that dog.
I am not going to come to work the same way. That's going to be a little different.
I mean, because they're not investigating, we may have to just turn them off. I mean, I know that's pretty cool. We just had.
Turn them off.
Did you just hear that?
What?
It was just a voice.
Did
I
you
went
know
for
that?
I just had it. I stopped recording. Should I record again?
I've got a whole recorder right here.
Well, that's true too.
Yeah.
That was just a voice. About 10 seconds, right
Did
before
you turn them off?
After I left?
You turned them off.
Yeah.
Oh, I was having fun.
I know.
Well,
Hey, let's put them in another room. Can we do that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Put
put
Put him in the
Another room?
kitchen. See if he'll go in the kitchen.
Oh my god, this is the coolest thing. I'm sorry. Like, that was
Yeah.
literally the coolest thing just now.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about, like, ghosts and stuff, and all of a sudden, that thing goes off.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
Well,
weird.
see, that's the thing is like all our activity keeps happening when we're talking about stuff. Like we were experiencing in Bellevue a cold
Oh.
flow through.
Is he still?
You might be setting it.
There was a cold, and we were discussing why it's cold and why we get the cold, and we don't like. What's the theory behind that?
So cool.
And a
I
cat
can't
ball
wait
went
to
off,
tell the group.
and then I knocked on. I did. And then it was 3 knocks afterwards. Is it going off again? Footsteps. I hear it. It's in here.
And a bird.
So it was one little beep, then I heard the birds, and then 2 footsteps. Boom, boom.
This is so cool.
It's on here. I heard it in the
So you're gonna have
headphones,
to
so I
clip this.
definitely have it.
It's 5:05. I don't know if you have time on there or not.
Good market.
No,
And
go
everyone
There's a mark.
was in this room at the time.
I
There
marked
wasn't
it.
anyone
This
else
is
out.
so
So-
cool.
Yeah.
So back to Pennhurst and the entities.
Sorry, that was just like the coolest thing. I'm
It was
sorry.
such impromptu, let's
Yeah,
just
it
slide
was
that
like,
in there.
yeah.
You
I
come
heard those
across,
footsteps. I'm really excited.
you come across a lot.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that I will, have everybody be reminded of is that a lot of them didn't talk.
Yeah.
A lot of them weren't able to talk.
Nonverbal.
They weren't nonverbal, or their way to communicate. I'm not going to say violence, but they hit, they kicked.
Yeah.
That's not negative.
And
Or they bit.
they don't necessarily know their strength either.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard when investigators go in there and they're like, "Hey, if you can hear my voice, could you tell me what the color of my shirt is?" What if they were colorblind?
Yeah.
What
Or
if they
not,
can't hear
yeah.
you because they were deaf?
Yeah.
How are you getting answers? So as investigators, we have not done it because I don't know anybody that can, but maybe teams out there that are going to listen, maybe you have a sign language interpreter. Maybe on camera you sign and see if somehow you get a response. I don't know how an audible response would come from a sign.
You could do like stomp your feet, knock on the wall, like something like that.
Absolutely.
There's also having a mostly non-speaking autistic child. It took a lot for him to start talking, and he is what they call a Gestalt language learner. And that means he does a lot of repetitive stuff. Like he will say things that he sees on a show or on a YouTube video, or, you say something repetitively and then he'll say that like that. And that's how he learned to verbalize his needs. So maybe that's something when you're going into a place that definitely had autistic kids, you could go, say something, repeat, and maybe that's why there's a mimic. Because they're mimicking what you say because they don't have any way to express themselves either. Like, just open your mind to all the possibilities and research.
And research.
Back to our name.
Right, absolutely.
I will say 2 of my most saddest experiences at Pennhurst involved.
What'd you hear? Footsteps? That's crazy. Anyway, keep going. Sorry. We're just like.
2 of my saddest experiences. One was several years ago, and one was this past investigation on the 14th. The first one was
Did you hear more footsteps just now?
I heard something, but I couldn't make it out.
Maybe we should just cut this podcast and start
Jump right on
investigating.
I swear we're gonna get through this.
We're gonna get through this.
Maybe they're like, don't talk about it anymore. We don't want to hear you talk about it.
There's an
That was
entity
so
there.
cool.
She's about an 8 or 9 year old girl named Emily.
Wait, at Pennhurst?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, here, right now?
No, Pennhurst. And her bed used to be on the first floor of Mayflower. Over the years, people brought her hundreds of trinkets, trigger objects. So her bed kind of got overwhelmed. Then they started having people stealing stuff, so they moved her bed. It's downstairs. They kind of took some stuff to put it in storage, safekeeping. Emily is very shy at first. She's autistic. Once you get through her wall that she's developed and you get to know Emily will talk to you. Emily will interact with you.
What building is this?
Mayflower.
Okay, I'm going to go to see her.
Emily also likes strawberry frosted cookies.
There you go.
Duh.
We have an EVP where
Bring in strawberry frosted cookies.
she said cookies. And we said what flavor, because we all know there's,
Yeah.
several dozen flavors of cookies.
Yeah.
And she said frosted. And we said, what frosting? And she said pink. And we said, well, what's pink to you? Strawberry. So strawberry frosted cookies is what she emphatically likes. So not at the time I didn't have a daughter, but just being a human, knowing that we were speaking to a little girl who likes strawberry frosted cookies who's dead, that kind of hit the hard chords, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and then to see her bed and interaction with her bed and those trinkets through the years, that's kind of sad. So fast forward to the 14th, we were in Quaker, and for whatever reason, call us basement dwellers for my group, but that particular night, other than Rockwell Tunnel,
Quaker is one of the buildings there.
it's
Yes.
one of the newest that they
Okay.
just opened.
Okay.
It's right next to Mayflower. It's
Okay.
actually Mayflower, Quaker, and then Devon. So you kind of have to walk on a diagonal. Quaker's in
Yeah.
the middle. We didn't make it into any other area except for basements. Devon basement. We were in
We did
Candyland.
too. Our group did too,
Quaker.
to be
It
honest.
just happened that way. But it was cool. We had the Phasma box going, and kind of nothing. It was kind of dead for, no pun intended. And all of a sudden, I was told empathically, go get our toy. And I've never been in Quaker building before. Didn't know that anything existed or where or the layout. And something told me to walk towards the complete back of Quaker basement. And Quaker, I was actually taken back by how big the basement was compared to what the outside looks like. It's a large basement. Almost like a small parking garage.
Wow.
And I walked all the way to the back into what was, I'm guessing, like a furnace room or like a maintenance room, where there was like old pipes, an old like heater of some sort. I think there was a washer and dryer in there, like rusted up, like banged up. And that was the only thing in the room, so I thought. And I happened to turn to the right, shine a flashlight because it's completely dark. And I told you that I was asking empathically to go get their toy. There was a toy in there, all right. It was a ball. So I grabbed the ball, came out, and my little group that I was in were like, holy shit. Like, how did you know that? I'm like, I don't, and you'll hear me and see me on camera. I got to go get their toy. Now, remember I said it was dead prior to this? Once I found that toy and put it in front, I tried my damnedest for 45 minutes to get them to move that ball. They couldn't move the ball. However, we had Phasma going. I talked about Phasma. And through that Phasma, multiple different children came through and said, help me. I'm stuck here. to hear that, like I was just
Yeah.
devastated.
Yeah.
But it's Pennhurst.
Yeah. That was my so
Stomach.
my
Hashtag not a demon.
Mark that. My stomach. So my stomach is actually hurting, and I'm feeling like when I get stomach aches and stuff, I get achy right in here, and so I've been like pressing on this this whole time that you're talking about it, and I want to take a break actually.
That's fine.
Yeah, because I'm recording anyway. But when the footsteps were going off and all that stuff, that Jay was screaming outside too.
Yeah.
We were in the other room yesterday and it kept hitting the window.
Yeah.
But whenever
It was nuts.
when I come, I have that little white car and I usually park over there.
Mhm.
And I come in the morning about 9 and it flies in my window every time. And I think I was just thinking it's a male, was just seeing its reflection. But maybe
Now we're
not.
all on
I heard
high alert.
that. I heard
The
that.
thump.
I heard that thump.
Yeah. We're just on high alert now.
Yeah.
It wasn't the door thing, right?
No.
Just them, no.
It's coming from above.
Coming from above.
And it has like reverberation to it, like a vibrate to it.
Do you want to go upstairs and?
We will when we're done.
Okay.
It's like, let me just get this done.
I might be able to get
Okay,
a read once I go up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna just stare past you at the EMF meter.
I was just asking about like grounding. Like, are you
Yeah.
like a nature girl? Like, you got to go out, like,
I do.
you know, in the woods, in the grass. Like, you got to go to the sand, the water, like ocean.
I water definitely, but not water outside, like baths and things. Salt.
That was not fun.
Yeah. I'm a Scorpio, so I'm a water sign. So that kind of stuff, water is good.
I think that's grounding is one of the things I'm not doing enough of.
Yeah. But we'd go out and walk all the time. But we go to and walk at Rockwood, which is haunted. So it's like, are we really grounding? I thought I just saw somebody.
This is so cool. I'm like,
How big is this place? Like, how many rooms? I mean, like, not like square footage.
It's open concept.
Like this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and upstairs it's open except for 2 closed offices on each side and then 2 little rooms at the back at the top of the stairs. But everything else is, except upstairs, I think there's another room that's glassed in, but it's pretty open.
My hand is starting to hurt again.
Paranormal.
paranormal. Yeah.
All right, so Pennhurst.
So we were talking about, I guess, the Quaker building and the ball, and you got
Yeah,
this,
the ball.
Yeah, and then they started chatting it up on, you know, the Phasma. You
Yeah.
know, kids' voices kind of like, you know, giggling and talking to themselves. And then it was, you know, we're trapped here, help us. You know, it was kind of sad. So many entities, you know, that you're going to come across at Pennhurst. Just keep in mind what the place was, what they did, what they didn't do, you know, what the spirits that you'll potentially encounter will.
I'm making it so I can't see the.
I felt that.
I heard that.
And
You guys heard that thump just now, right?
Mm-hmm.
My chair vibrated.
So chances are the foundation of this building is steel interlaid with concrete. So when you have a thud in the floor, it vibrates through the metal, not the concrete. And that vibrated the floor that we're sitting on.
yeah.
That was loud. That wasn't a
That
car
was
door.
loud.
That wasn't a
Yeah.
car going by. That was loud. That was a boom. Would have vibrated in it. And typically, when you hear that in buildings like this, it's usually, sadly, either a body falling,
Mm-hmm.
like onto the floor, and you hear that,
Yeah.
or dropping or moving of furniture.
Yeah.
So if this was essentially a warehouse upstairs, because they would use that to lift
Okay, that was
As a general store, they would lift things and I guess store them upstairs. So that could be potentially moving.
So if they
Oh,
were
yeah.
lifting, let's say a hutch or a buffet that was heavy Amish wood or, wood back in the day, because let's be honest, that
or a
wood back in the
sack of
day,
grain.
up into there and then
Boom.
boom onto the floor.
Yeah.
Mhm. Or sack of grain or other
Something with
staples.
weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crates of something.
And that could just be residual,
Yeah.
that you just happen to capture.
Yeah, but we were having a reaction, like an interaction with
Yeah.
that dog. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's amazing.
I wonder what Debbie. I mean, she did. All she said was there's something here. She didn't get into it. So
Mm.
it's interesting.
Maybe get her off recording,
Uh-huh.
to record a voice clip or even have her stop by
Yeah.
and do a recording of her walking through.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Because now if you're going to start
Absolutely.
having people come in like us or, other empaths, see if you pick up on the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
So what are the tunnels?
So the tunnels in Pennhurst they're all on the ground.
Mhm.
They were built as a means of early on, they were built a means of transportation. So they would transport carts of, textiles, food, all kinds of stuff that you would get from one site or one building to another area on the property because it was massive. I think at one time there was 36 or 37 buildings.
That's a lot.
So it was massive.
Yeah.
So they would also use it for walking, during inclement weather. It's
Mhm.
thunderstorm
To
outside.
go
You just go down a tunnel. If I need to go
Mhm.
from Mayflower over to Devon, I just go down into the
So
tunnel,
all the
walk
tunnels
around, go to the tunnel.
are connected, all the buildings are connected with
Pretty
the
much.
tunnels. Okay. So I'm just looking at these different tours for
Mhm.
Paracon. And tunnels is a tour. The infirmary is a tour.
Yeah. Which one should I go on?
And then Limerick and Quaker. Quaker lockdown, there's a lockdown on Friday night.
Yeah, the investigation.
Is
And
that
that's
you? Is that, you're doing that?
no. They have celebrities that'll host it and be in the building. So Amy and Adam might be in Quaker Friday night. Just throwing names out there. I don't know who
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, right.
Jason might be in another location Saturday night,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Okay.
The Ghost Brothers and another
Yeah.
one.
So it starts 7 p.m. on Friday night. So, but I'm just looking at the other ones, it's saying, okay, there's Limerick. What was Limerick?
Limerick it was another housing unit.
Mm-hmm.
It's to the right of administration building. So you have Mayflower, admin, and then Limerick. Limerick I've never been in, which I need to get in. Because for many, many years, Jim would just say that, objects would fly around the room, kind of stuff. Objects were thrown at his employees. So that's poltergeist activity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get in there and see that, but it's not currently.
So what's the difference between poltergeist and ghost generally?
A ghost is just that
That
spirit.
entity.
That
Right.
entity, that's trapped in time or a message to tell you or a secret to tell. Poltergeist is a more mischievous, spirit that's, doing stuff to try to scare you away.
I saw it flicker.
Okay.
The
That's the
EMF.
K2 that she's referring to.
Not a K2, actually. What's the
Okay.
difference between a K2 and one of those cheapo EMF readers that I bought off of Amazon?
So they both read like an electromagnetic field.
Yeah.
It's just how it displays the information to you.
Okay. Yeah, that one only flickers. It doesn't beep. So it only flickered green. Nope. See?
Yeah.
And it hasn't been doing that until just now. So maybe something is starting to ramp up.
Wow.
So, off the topic from Pennhurst back to Strauss,
Yeah.
we were in the library and we didn't have any K2 activity until we started talking about wine.
Ooh.
And we asked her, Jeanette, what wine does she like? Does she like red or white? Light up this device. If you don't like red wine, light the K2 to red. Bam, red.
Ah,
Could you do it again? Bam,
yeah.
red. If you like or you want white wine, light it to orange. Bam, orange. Direct interaction.
Yeah, well, that's how that one actually. That's how we got to playing music in the print shop. It's because we were having communication. We were like, okay, well, what about music? Do you like music? Because we weren't getting nothing. And so we started shouting out banjo, guitar, drums, piano hit, organ hit. Okay, gospel music.
No, church music.
Dawn said church music.
Church music was the first one, yes.
Yeah,
'Cause
and then
that would, I don't think it was called gospel music.
back then, yeah.
It was
So
church
that's
music.
how we got to
Yeah,
where we
church
were.
and choir music.
Mhm.
Yes, because the EMF meter was going off, and it was going for Dawn a lot. I kind of just handed it to her and was like,
Yeah,
"Here, you do
she
this."
was getting a lot of hits on that.
No,
So-
she had the question of because she was wearing an Apple Watch that night, but she wasn't getting messages back and forth. Like it wasn't like she was, getting calls or anything. So would that have set that off if she was like a couple feet away?
It could, because it's technology and it interferes with like the radio signal.
Mm-hmm.
Test it. Try it out.
Yeah.
We know through testing that if you have a walkie-talkie
Yes, that goes.
that sets all the equipment off within a 12 to 15 foot radius, 9 times out of 10, it's the reception of the transmission coming back to you that sets it off. So I could key it up, REM pod doesn't go off. Emily, are you there?
Yeah.
And then when you hear it on the other end and you key your radio up to call me back, that's what sets it off.
Okay.
Because it's that transmission of the
Okay.
radio frequency.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah.
With that one, I just put my phone on it, and sometimes it
Test it.
like goes. Yeah,
Mhm.
I mess with that, and I go through buildings, like
Yeah.
you go through all
Baseline
the
sweep.
rooms. Yeah, and it wouldn't work on this one because of the electric plugs here.
I'm able to put my watch in airplane mode.
Okay.
So you
Yeah,
don't
she
have
didn't
just
even
my
think
phone,
about it
yeah.
until afterwards, and in our private group, she was like, "Do you think that could have happened?"
Mm-hmm.
Well, we were getting direct answers, so like.
So unless you were asking a direct response and like say I have a watch on, this is a piece of equipment.
Yeah.
Unless my hand was over here and you're like, hey, if you can hear my voice, light that piece of equipment up, and you're just inadvertently moving your hand,
Okay.
you could have a false positive.
But if she's standing back,
You have to test it and try it out.
yeah, okay,
Because that's part of debunking. So
Yes.
if you have something, was it his watch? Was it a phone?
Mm-hmm.
Was it her camera? Were we live? Was it a feed? Was it a
Yes.
Wi-Fi signal?
yeah,
Test it. Was it another piece of equipment that got close proximity?
yeah,
Test it. Because then you know for sure
right,
debunking normal, paranormal.
yeah.
Okay, so one more
So back to
question.
Pennhurst. To
The
answer your
infirmary.
question, so the infirmary is on the farther northern campus. So it's like kind of like where when you come in as a guest, you'll come in, I think, by the like admission gate. You'll pass by like the infirmary. It's like way on the top. You have to like walk to it. So it's a little bit of a hike. When we were there, we made it off limits because it was a car went by. But I don't know if that's what you heard. Just because of the rain, the treachery, like walking up the hill, we left it off limits. We did put a piece of equipment over there. It didn't get set up properly, so we don't have, necessarily the video for over there, so that's scratched, which is okay. I mean, things happen. But to answer your question about which tour you should go on or, what you want to do, remember a couple things. It's a public event, so you're going to have how many other tickets they're selling for that particular block. So if they're only selling 15 tickets, thank God. If they're selling 75 tickets, oh my God. You know what I mean? Because you're going to have a lot of people that are just going in there to see things. Now, there are paranormal enthusiasts, there are paranormal investigators that know to be quiet or be respectful of others. But you're going to have Bob, his stepwife, or his wife, and 3 kids that are going to be in there that have never been investigating before. So they're going to be running through, Quaker going, Dad, over here. And you're down there like, man, I'm trying to figure out what's going
Yeah,
on.
that happens a lot.
Yeah, so just keep that in mind. And also, what are you ultimately trying to see, feel, or experience? Are you just going in to see what the building looks like, to take pictures? Or are you going in to try to read the building or start doing like a little mini investigation kind of thing?
Yeah.
What is your goal being in that area? And also keep in mind acoustics.
Yes. 'Cause
Rockwell
there's going to
Tunnel.
be a ton of people. Yeah.
Rockwell Tunnel is, if she's in there doing the experiment of her heels at 1,700 feet long, if she's in there on this end, clicking, clacking with a heel,
Yeah.
even though she's all the way over here, if Ray's sitting all the way down the other end of Rockwell Tunnel, it's going to sound like she's running through him.
Yeah.
It's that loud.
Yeah.
But it takes a little bit of time. Hello, hello, hello,
Yeah.
hello, to travel. But once he hears it, it's going to be loud, just like if it was sitting next to him, but she's at the other end.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to keep that process in mind too.
Yeah. Good to know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not the time for me to go and investigate there.
I mean, if you're looking at doing the
But you
nighttime investigation, I'd say, go try it out. I mean, you've been to public events before. If you see that there's 25 people over here, go over there.
Well, sometimes you don't have that luxury.
I know.
And you can't go, like,
Sure.
yeah.
You can't
Up on
separate.
your own.
And you can't, well, luckily we picked our group. And then Sierra was like, you're with us. But we got to pick our group at Samuel Miller, but like, yeah.
And we didn't know anyone. We met them there. Well, we knew the golf.
We kind
friends,
well, yeah, we
just
just,
from,
we like had talked online,
but
me and Morgan. But yeah, we didn't know anybody else, but we were there and we were like started talking to them and they were really cool and we ended up forming a bond. So that's really cool.
It's funny how that happens.
Yeah, you can make really good friends doing this stuff.
Yeah.
We're
So
friends from a former life.
Soul
yeah.
family.
So, what would you like people to know about Interstate Paranormal Research or IPR? As you're
Amber,
known.
you're up.
I'd like them to know that you are always going to be treated as family. That you're always going to feel welcome.
Is there anything in the future that you're gonna do? Stuff coming out?
In the future,
Anything interesting?
we do have some really cool places coming up. I'm looking forward to, I know next weekend we have Brent Lodge. In June, we're going to Wildwood Sanitarium, a place that the team has been to, but neither me or
That's
Amber
in-
have been there.
Wildwood, New Jersey? Here's the
Wildwood Sanitarium, it's up in New York.
Oh, okay.
So-
Salamanca, New York.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't
We're
have
also
those.
going to Iron Island, which is a new place we've never been to.
And where's
Buffalo.
that?
Okay.
Buffalo. Okay.
And where are
Hopefully
you
that's
going
in the
Wednesday
winter.
night?
I mean, in the.
As a prize?
Wednesday night.
Should we say that though? Because not everybody knows.
I
Well,
am
this
going
isn't going to
secret
come out
location.
for a couple
Secret
weeks.
location.
I'm going to a secret location.
It was a surprise for him, so.
And what,
So our schedule's busy.
Yes.
Yeah.
We like to do 2 investigations a month, but now we've thrown in my Hona Manor project.
Yeah.
Public events, private events, investigation locations, paracons, conventions.
Yeah.
Anything paranormal, look for IPR because we like to be involved. I like to be busy. I like to give people exposure. Paranormal resume. As you move through, your tenure in the paranormal field, you build a resume. Investigations,
Yeah.
mingling, networking, conventions, merchandise, that kind of stuff. One thing to look out for coming up is our Parakids.
Oh yes,
Academy.
please. Let's jump into that.
Super excited.
kids.
Let's jump into that.
So Parakids was a concept that I thought of a couple months ago, and it's something that is kind of minimal at best out there. No one's really gearing paranormal towards the younger crowd, the younger fans. Talking with a couple of our social media committee, which is Jess, Megan, and Sierra, I was like, hey, why don't we come up with this idea of academy for kids where we gear towards, younger, teens, middle-aged teens, to teach them about the paranormal, that it's not scary and that it's fun, get them interested into like a hobby, and, if people are kind of going down the wrong path, let's steer them towards a path that's cool and fun.
Yeah.
And come up with a concept for, the academy. So we ran with it, came up with an idea, Para Kids Academy. We have a logo. We started looking out for locations to host it.
Yeah.
And it started out as just one event, and now it's progressed to possibly, well, we know one other location, which is coming out here in the near future, and possibly 2 more locations moving into 2025. So it's something that we're progressing with, and we'll bring kids out with a guardian or their parent, teach them what paranormal is, how to investigate the right way, the fun way, the cool way, teach them some of the equipment, give them a lecture series, and then when they're done, break off into an investigation of the location that they're at. So they'll be able to put what they just listened to and learned about to use. Then at the end of that, kids like free stuff.
Yeah.
So we're going to give them a free goodie bag that may or may not come with some paranormal equipment in it.
Ooh.
A shirt, to commemorate, their experience with the location and the date on the back, kind of like a band shirt.
Yeah, that's
like
yeah.
a concert shirt.
Sure.
Yeah.
I like that.
And kids all like certificates. So we're going to give them, they're all their own, paranormal investigator certificate from that particular location.
And what ages are you looking at?
9 through 17.
9 to
I think that's an
17.
appropriate age,
Yeah.
with an adult. I'd want to get a little bit younger in, but I think we had to, cut it off at a certain age.
And do
Yeah.
they have to have a parental
Yeah.
figure with
Yes,
them?
we're
So-
requiring every paying ticket for a child have an accompanying, parental guardian or an actual parent.
Okay. Well, that sounds exciting.
Yeah.
That's really great.
Yeah.
So what do you see for the future of Interstate as when you're looking down the road 5-10 years from now?
To continue on the path that we've already started for ourselves, and that's keeping our name in good faith, being professional in everything that we do,
Integrity.
integrity, honesty, standing out in the community. I have gotten numerous compliments on not only the way that we carry ourselves, the way that we look when we show up. We have a uniform, we're all wearing our hoodies now. The shirts are, the designs are known, people talk about it in a good light. And just to continue trying to research and come up with, answers to questions that people have, educate people, and also help people understand what paranormal is.
Yeah.
And do it in good faith for everybody.
Yeah.
So we can trust what you come up with because you do it from a research standpoint.
Yeah, we try to. We
And
strive
it's not
to.
all woo-wee and the stuff you see on
Fast
television
edits
a lot.
and spooky music.
Yeah, really. I mean, there's a place for that, and it does draw your attention, but that's not what this is really about. And what we're about is just getting everyone that has the least bit of interest understanding what
Yeah.
people do, and that sometimes it is long and many hours and overnight, and it's not
Expensive.
people's day job mostly, and expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to plan for it. It has to be a hobby that you're into, kind of, if you're not an official investigator, go to events and have that kind of enjoyment.
And one thing I really, like to help out, and you touched on it about like cost, it's expensive. Some of the people that we network are smaller groups, a group of 3, group of 5. To get into Pennhurst to probably book, it's $1,200.
Yeah.
So if there's 3 of you, you're paying $400 a person,
Yeah.
to book the night. That's expensive.
Yeah.
So with us, we don't have a problem inviting other people, hey, come out, it may cost you $100 out of your pocket, but it's not costing you $400.
Yeah.
Right.
So we like to network with people. We find people that we will be side by side with, till the day, we don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So.
And then maybe even after that.
Right. You never know.
I always say I'm going to go back to the Stanley when I die.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I say I'm dragging her along with me.
I'll be there before you.
Well, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, are you just going to go to the Stanley without me?
Yeah, I'll wait until you're there and then we'll go.
Who's driving? But I think that's a relatively good question, and I may steal that
Yeah.
in the future to ask my teammates, hey, just a quick question for social media, interaction. Amber, if you died, where would you go? Where would you go, right?
What's the question? What's the answer to that one? Where would you go?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah.
I know what my answer is.
What's your
Oh,
answer?
no.
That's the big mystery in life is and who decides where they're going to go or not go.
Yeah.
I mean, because if everyone that died was here all around us, it'd be pretty crowded.
We'd be
We'd bump into
swimming through spirit.
Yeah.
I will go wherever my daughter is.
Oh.
Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah.
And how old is she?
6, going on 7.
Oh, that's a good age.
So whether she's alive or dead, I'd go wherever she is.
Yeah. Dang, I have to change my answer.
Way to go, Toby.
You guilted me into it.
So do you have any final questions about Pennhurst?
No, but do you have another quick story or anything?
I have another event that I would like to share.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So we talked about Parakids, which is September 14th at Selma Mansion. It's running from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m.
And where's Selma Mansion?
in Norristown, Pennsylvania.
Oh,
It's
okay.
about 40 minutes from here, right
And
just
you-
north of King of Prussia. As I said, we're looking at another location for November for Parakids for a secondary, and then 2025. But we do know that our Friendsgiving event is on. That's getting ready to be dropped.
Cool.
That's November 16th at My Haunted Manor.
Nice.
So
Now, would that go through to get tickets? Would you go through?
So we will be creating our own Eventbrite
Okay.
link for that.
Mhm.
They will be on the flyer because that's what we have to do. They will be in attendance that night, doing their kind of My Haunted Manor thing. My thing is every year it's the Paranormal Friendsgiving where we get together. We have a holiday meal. I cook turkey, mashed potatoes, corn, rolls, and we have a big feast. And then when we're done as a family, we investigate the location. But that night, you'll be investigating with the guys.
Awesome.
So do their public event and kind of
Yeah.
keep the tradition going.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
So, yeah, stay tuned.
Yay!
Thank you for listening to Only Ghost in the Building. This is
Emily Claire.
and Karen Land with Interstate Paranormal Research.
Tony,
Right.
Amber, thanks
And
for
we-
having us.
thank you for having us on this
Yeah.
podcast. It was sincerely fun and loving.
We had a blast.
Yay!
Thanks for
Thank
having us.
you. Thank you. Thanks
And
for being
cut.
here.
We will see you soon.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. If you have a story you'd like to tell us, please email us at onlyghostinthebuilding@gmail.com, or you can find us on Instagram at Only Ghosts in the Building or Facebook at Only Ghosts in the Building. We also have a Patreon at patreon.com/onlyghosts-in-the-building, and you can come join for free, or we have a $1 a month tier or a $5 a month tier. Come check us out. We have a lot of good content there. I really enjoy the app and all its capabilities. You can listen, you can watch, and you can read and check out all our content right on there. We have merch for sale at onlyghostinthebuilding.com. There's some really cute stuff, including kids' clothes. Go check that out. Thank you so much. We will see you soon.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.